3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hey everybody, and welcome to the College Esports Update. I'm your host, Norris Howard, joined alongside my intrepid team from UNLV, as well as Coach Adam Antor. But we're going to start our show talking about Hearthstone. Big matches went down over the weekend, and we're going to bring in Dom Shotson to talk a little bit about it. Hearthstone Championships went down over the weekend. Dom is here to give us all of the information on who played whom and who came out on top. Dom, how did these matches go over the weekend?
Oh, so we were just into our Final Four for this weekend, and skipping the semifinals and just going straight into the finals, we want to talk about a team that really wasn't on our radar. We previewed the playoffs, we previewed the season. We did not talk about Iowa State at all, and they came out as the champions at the end of this. They beat Akron University of Akron, of course, a powerhouse esports school, one of the schools that we were looking at coming into this season, because they've had success in the Hearthstone scene already, and obviously in multiple other scenes we cover. But Iowa State wasn't on anybody's radars coming into this, like even to the playoffs. The Hearthstone Collegiate Observer, one of the great Twitter accounts that follows Collegiate Hearthstone as well, they put out their power rankings, top 25, Iowa State wasn't even there. So the fact that they came out on top is a surprise to, I would say, everyone that follows this scene. And they did it off the back of an interesting variety of decks, combo decks, which are, I know this is maybe like speaking Latin to you a little bit, Norris, because I know you don't play Hearthstone nearly as much as I do, but these decks are very finicky. They're very reliant on pulling out specific cards. It's like if you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, the Exodia combos, right? These are really difficult decks to pull off, and these are primarily what Iowa State used to win. Whereas Akron had some maybe more unoptimized decks, I would say. And if there's anything to say about this tournament as a whole, I was kind of disappointed in some of the deck selection. There wasn't as much of the top tier decks that we're seeing in Hearthstone right now played. Seems like people wanted to maybe go off meta and show their big brains, but I think it might have came back to bite people like Akron, who are perennial powers, going off meta a little bit.
Right. Well, and speaking about that, you know, obviously congratulations to Iowa State coming out of nowhere and getting a big victory. But this is another opportunity in which Akron could have won big. We know they've won in Rocket League. We know they've dropped the ball even in Rainbow Six. But one of the things that I want to talk to you very quickly about Akron is that they were so strong in Hearthstone going up into this grand finals. As you said, playing very, very, very sort of off meta, if you will. Do you think that the deck selection from Iowa State just caught Akron off balance and they really didn't know how to respond? Or did it seem like Akron really just didn't play as strong of a deck as Iowa State? So
I can break it down in almost layman's terms that this is really played right into Iowa State's hands. There's almost like a rock, paper, scissors method in Hearthstone. You have combo beats control decks, and then control decks beat aggro decks, and aggro decks / tempo decks beat the combo decks. It's like a perfect rock, paper, scissors configuration. And like I said, Iowa State brought a lot of combo decks, whereas Akron brought a lot of kind of off-meta control decks. So they just had the advantage over them just inherently based on the type of decks that they brought. Now, that's why I say I was disappointed that maybe Akron and a lot of the other teams didn't bring more aggro and tempo decks, because they destroy these combo decks. Like, so the top two classes in the game right now are Paladin and Hunter by a wide margin over the other classes, and those two classes dominate combo decks. Nobody brought Paladin and nobody brought Hunter into the top four. So it's like they were outthinking themselves. I think they were looking for more, like worried about maybe control matchups, but Iowa State they were in the Final Four and they brought these combo decks the entire time throughout the first round of the tournament and then bringing it into the finals. So people shouldn't have been surprised that they were there. Somebody should have brought some more aggro and tempo based deck lineups, and I think that we would be looking at a different champion right now if that was the case. I think it's a matter of maybe outthinking themselves, but that's Hearthstone sometimes.
Yeah, well, we thank you for sharing that information with us and letting us know again. Like we said, congratulations to Iowa State for clearly not thinking too hard about it and just playing what they knew how to play. And so that's the season for Collegiate Hearthstone. Obviously, there'll be some summer tournaments going on here and there. Of course, we will bring those to you as well. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the College Esports Update. We are now bringing on Erica and Coach Adamantor to share with us their picks for the final 8, the Elite 8, if you will, of College League of Legends. This is one of, if not the biggest collegiate tournament of the year going on for League of Legends and really almost any esports in the scene. And, we finally got it down to our final 8 teams. And so I've brought these guys onto the show to talk a little bit about each team, what they expect from them, and who we expect to win and go forward in the contest. So first of all, welcome to the show, guys. And we're going to jump right into it with the first match between University of Toronto and Bethany Lutheran. And I'm going to throw it to Coach first. Coach, again, you've been talking about Bethany from the very beginning of this season, talking about they're going to be an under-the-radar team. They're going up against a strong team in Toronto. Do you see them advancing to the semifinals?
Hey, this Toronto team looks strong, but in my opinion, I got Bethany for this one. I think Bethany has a chip on their shoulder after falling in the playoffs of the North Conference, and they have a lot to prove, and it's a talented roster that is not going to go quietly against this Toronto team. And I think Bethany's going to pull out with the win.
Erica, on you. Between these two, who ends up coming out on top? Is it Toronto or Bethany?
To butt heads again with Coach on this, but I definitely feel like Toronto is going to win. I think Psycho Mode, my bad. Psycho Mode has the coolest name. And Donkey have incredible synergy on the map, and I think that's really going to outshow Bethany.
Yeah, I personally want to go with Bethany. Erica, not to leave you on the island by yourself. I like Bethany. I think Toronto has been very strong, but I think I'm going to roll with Bethany simply because I'm biased. But we move forward to what I think is the sort of 1A in terms of the premier matchups in CLOL still so far, as we got Maryville versus Colombia. Again, this is a high profile match. 2 of the most well-known programs in the country going up against each other. And just to start it off, it's really hard to put your money against Maryville in any sort of League of Legends competition. They got the legacy, they have the background, they have the legacy. And for me, to be perfectly honest, it is really hard for me to ever root against Evan RL. Evan RL is one of my favorite AD carries in all of Collegiate. I love watching this kid play. I got to go with Maryville, not just because of the legacy, but because I think they're a strong team all the way around. They don't have a lot of weaknesses, guys.
I agree with you, Norris. I think Maryville comes out of this one on top. But that doesn't mean Columbia's not a strong team. I mean, they've made it to the top 8. They deserve to be here. But Maryville's just on a whole different level compared to the rest of Collegiate right now. And that's not to say that's going to be the case long term or in the next couple of years. But right now, Maryville's just on another level, and it'd be difficult to root against them coming up.
Erica, what is your take?
I'm definitely going for these underdogs. I really think that Colombia really showed out against ASU. I mean, ASU is the fan favorite, and they stomped them. Rovax really carried his team, and I think that'll happen again. I think Maryville is a very strong team. They're very professional, and I think they know how to rotate around the map really well, which Colombia has some work on. But I think Colombia's gonna stomp them too.
Oh my.
All right, we will see. That is a very hot take. If you are right, you're one of the biggest brains in CLOL. If you are wrong, we will laugh very loudly.
I'll pick my L.
Now, Winthrop versus Suny Buffalo. Again, a match that I think is very good, but may end up one-sided. I think Winthrop's got to go. I got to go with Winthrop on this one. Erica, for you, between these two teams, who do you go with?
Winthrop, definitely. The Throps, outshow, they adapt, they overcome, they're powerful, and I think their players are very humble and they know how to show their personality on the map. And I think that's what really counts when they have fun.
Coach.
I'm with Erica on this one. I think Winthrop's going to take it pretty handily. I think this is a talented roster, another powerhouse of an esports school, and it'd be hard to see them lose this one.
And now we close the top 8 out with, in my opinion, the marquee match of this round is we're going to have Harrisburg versus Illinois State. Again, everybody's going to be talking about the Maryville match, but this is the match to figure out who might see Maryville in those grand finals, in my opinion, between these two teams. Harrisburg versus Illinois State. I want to throw this to Erica first. Erica, out of these two teams who have been very strong all year long, who do you take?
I feel like Harrisburg is going to win. I know I said I was for the underdogs earlier, but Harrisburg, they have a really strong team roster and they know how to play their champions. They usually pick champions they've previously been comfortable with, as well as like their coach is very in their brain, and I think their coach really knows what they're talking about, and I respect that. So I'm with Harrisburg on this one.
Coach, you get the say on this one.
I'm gonna disagree on this one. I think Harrisburg's walking this as the underdog, in my opinion. I also think they have a lot more to prove, and they're gonna have a lot more pressure on their shoulders going into this match. And we know mental's a big part of collegiate esports. Illinois State, this is their first year. They've made a huge statement, but it's an extremely talented roster full of stars. And I just don't see them dropping this match. They've had some tests this year, and they've come out on top. They're one of the only teams to take a game off of Maryville this year. But when you look at Harrisburg, they have not had a significant test when it comes to their roster on the Rift. And this is going to be the first one that they hit, in my opinion. And I'm on the side of Illinois State this week.
Yeah, and Coach, I'm going to be honest. I got to take Illinois State as well. When I look at their run up through the actual playoff bracket, I feel like they had a tougher run. I feel like they've beaten better teams than Harrisburg has had the opportunity to play against. And they've looked just as good as Harrisburg, if not better. And so I think going up against these two teams, I think Harrisburg is going in as the favorite because of the legacy and because of the name behind their school. But I think Illinois State wins out. I think the mentals and I think the pressure is going to get to Harrisburg. I think Illinois is playing very free. I feel like they're just out there having fun. And when you're a team that can play without sort of that mental anguish of we can't lose as opposed to we want to win, I think that's a very different mental state. And I think Illinois State ends up winning because of this. And to be perfectly honest, if they keep their mentality, they might go to the finals. I think we're setting ourselves up for a Maryville Illinois State grand final if Illinois State could keep it up. If they don't, I think they still beat Harrisburg, but they fall to Winthrop in the semis. So guys, I don't want you to pick a champion. I want you to pick out of these a grand finals matchup. As you just heard me say, I think we see Maryville and Illinois State. What about you guys?
I don't want to agree with you, but it's hard not to. But I will play devil's advocate a little bit. I'm going to throw out Winthrop meeting Maryville in the finals. I think Winthrop is an extremely talented roster. I mean, they just look strong. And although they're not coming out of the North Conference, they're still they're a team that I think could test Maryville going into a finals. So that's going to be my prediction at a finals. Although Illinois State, I don't know. It could be either one. I'm going to pick Winthrop.
And Erica, you get our final word. Grand finals matchup. Who do you see?
I also have to agree with Coach on this. I'm a big Winthrop fan, but unbiasedly, I really feel like what you said earlier, Norris, teams that have the I will win mentality and when they truly have fun on the Rift, it really makes a big difference versus teams who are just concentrating purely on their skill, the team composition, and the rotations. I feel like teams who truly know how to communicate with one another and to laugh and smile at each other on the Rift really push them to the win.
So who do you pick for your grand finals out of everybody left here?
Winthrop versus anyone. They will win.
All right, so you just saying it don't matter. I'm going for Winthrop. All right. Well, that's gonna be it for our college esports update. You got the word here from our experts, and don't forget that we will be going on a break for the summer for this show, for the college esports update. There will be a break, and don't forget that the entire sort of layout of On Campus will be on break for Memorial Day. So we will have a little bit of content out coming for you guys. But the shows, as you know, will be taking a break for Memorial Day. So expect that. But for Erica and Dom and Coach Adamantor coming to us, as well as myself, your host, Norris Howard, we hope you guys have a great week. And we'll see you next week for more College Esports. Take it easy.